I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up, what up, what up? Happy Monday to everybody out there. First show in the month of March. The eyes of March are upon us. This is when we do it best. A big month ahead. We've got the close of the NHL season. We've got the NBA just kind of getting down to it. And then, of course, college hoops, March Madness. We got baseball starting right around the corner. What a great time to be in the sports betting game. I hope you guys are as excited about this month as I am. We've got a lot of opportunities. There's never enough time in the day to get to them. So we got a fast-paced show tonight for you guys. NHL-wise, we'll bust off 3 plays. Kind of a medium-sized slate, I guess I'll call it tonight. We've got action in Buffalo, Montreal, Tampa, and Florida, and the Kings and the Blackhawks. I'll give you guys some sides and totals, some official plays that I'm on there. Let's move over to college hoops. We'll talk a little Prairie View. Why not? Them boys. And then we'll get to Kansas and Houston for a big battle out there. Yeah, as we wrap her up, we'll move into the NBA. I've got a parlay today for the NBA. A little 5-1 action in the NBA. Potential ladder opportunities. And we will roll on. We've got Portland and the 76ers. We'll wrap her up with a triple revenge spot with the Detroit Pistons and the Utah Jazz. That's going to be the way we're getting paid tonight. And we'll see. We'll see if there's any late night ads. Some of these later games have some meaning, sort of. I guess it kind of depends on what happens earlier on in the evening. Specifically, I'm looking at this 11 p.m. game in Eastern Washington and Montana. Got flexed later to see what happens between a couple of these other spots. So I believe it's North Colorado and Weber State that will dictate whether or not Montana has to give her a go. And we got a lot of money coming in on Montana, but this line's starting to come down a little bit. But again, that game will have meaning based on the previous spots ahead of that. So we'll see how the evening moves on for us and how we cash these early bets. We'll see what's going on out there. Fun weekend. I hope you guys made some money. Saturday shows, always good. StreamYard was definitely bugging out on Saturday. Not sure what happened there, but it is what it is. Looks like they're back in action today, but great UFC card. Got the Cody Brundage plus money co-main event spot. Dogs in the co-main continue to bark. That's all I will say about the UFC. Hey, some boxing too. We got a little Tank Davis over 8.5 rounds. Was it a draw? Maybe a little judge messery there, given it did look like Tank took a knee. Took a knee in that last round. I don't know. Not knockdown, they call it. No knockdown. Just like a football player taking a knee. What else happened in the world of sports this weekend? The Washington Capitals have re-upped their 2 goaltenders for the next foreseeable future in Lindgren and Thompson, or Thomas rather. We've got, what else do we got? What else do we have? How about this? The Florida Panthers knew it was going to happen. Long-term IR for Matthew Tkachuk. That affords them almost $9 million in cap space before the end of the NHL regular season. So, they hand you lemons. You got to make that. You know what? You make yourself a little lemonade, toss some vodka in there, and it tastes just fine for them Florida Panthers. What else? Eagles, they drop, big play Slay. Darius Slay, no longer a Philadelphia Eagle. They're making room for Myles Garrett. I'm telling you, write it down. Take a note. Keep your eyes on that. What else? Jerry Johnson retires from the NFL broadcast booth there. The team of, was it Fox? Is he with Fox, I think? Anyways, he's not there anymore. He's not with anybody anymore. And that's pretty much, I think, a high-level recap of the sports world here. Nothing too earth-shattering happened. I think, I will say this. Higgs for the Cincinnati Bengals gets his second franchise tag in a row. That can't make him very happy at all. There's probably going to be some dissension in the ranks for these Cincinnati Bengals. What else? What else is happening? Well, let's see. We've got sub club videos out there. There's 2 sub club videos that we shot this afternoon. Put those up for the Champions League action for both Wednesday, Champions League, Europa on Thursday. Shout out to our guy Dan Doherty, the newest contributor here for Sports Money. Nice. I went 2-0 with them rugby plays in Vegas on Saturday. That was nice money. Nice easy under in that first game, and cashed in the second as well. So we're all is right in the world here. We're settling in. We're finding our lanes, and we're getting ready to fire away in those lanes. Boy, how about this? How about this for probably the recap for the weekend? The last recap spot for the weekend. The Clippers just get dominated by the Lakers. Time and time again. They can't figure out the formula. Man, what a disappointment last night. You know, it looked like early in the day, sharp money was coming in on the Clippers. But by the time it got the tip-off, it was almost a pick 'em. I think it was like -1.5. Didn't matter. They got busted up. The Lakers, whether they had their old look or their new look, they just continue to dominate them. So we move on. Onward and upward, a big month ahead. I can't wait for it, you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is where we make money. This month is the money month here. We're going to have some fun with March Madness. We've got some giveaways, all kinds of things happening in the world of sports money. So, we'll be back and ready live on Saturday night for the next UFC card. Hopefully you guys are checking out that UFC playbook. Man, that thing's been fire. The boys have been hammering some spots out there, giving you some plus money looks, giving you some low-cost, high-return opportunities out there. So that is very much available. We'll have that updated again shortly for this week and keep pouring in that action. And away we go. How about that? Go time indeed. You guys know what time it is. It's thumbs up time. Need your help. Help us build this community. You do so by letting YouTube know you're here. The way you do that is by smacking that thumbs up button, and you can find it by closing the chat. You hit the thumbs up, pop the chat back open, and then we'll be ready to roll. Okay. Shout out to everybody that's here rocking and rolling. You know what time it is. Pen and paper time. Going to need you guys to get that out there so that when the best in the business share their best bets, you can write them down. That way you have action to play all evening, not just from what I'm sharing with you guys on the screen, but again, best damn chat in the universe is assembled here for 6 p.m. We've been marinating on this card all day. It's time to fire away. Fire away we will. We got commenter numero uno. Make sure you put your best bets in the chat. Joe T coming in with the best bet for us. Here's a 6:30 start. A 6:30 start between the Senators and the Capitals. Jover, on and over, giving us the Senators and Capitals over 5.5. Shout out to Gerald Jones in the house. It's a great weekend. Hell yeah. It's his best Marshall Cash Friday. Best now 16-9 for our guy. How about that? How about that? And it's giving you guys a little Houston first half. -5.5 action. Big game. Big game against Kansas. We'll be talking about it. We'll be hitting away on that. Redbeard's here. He got them Trailblazers. He likes the Lightning team total over. And Wake Forest with a hefty 19.5 points. Bold man, Redbeard. I was not entirely confident how to attack that game. Duke loves to cover double-digit spread. They're just covering and covering and covering. They don't know what line to put on this team here with Flag and company. And Friday's game for Wake is pretty big. Or Saturday, I'm sorry. Saturday's game, I believe, for Wake is the big one as they close out. We've got the smaller conferences. The mid-majors will start doing some of their playoffs this week. The big boys have a week left. And then we'll talk about some of those conference playoffs as well. So it's going to be fun. Shout out to Bo Jackson, Joe W., Blake M., Stop Geo's here. There we go. Bo says, what a weekend. Saw John Cena turn heel in Toronto. Cashed with the Leafs and Wild yesterday. Let's go. Shout out to Mr. Tomatoes reporting for duty. Be sure to hit the like, share, and turn into Sub Club and Rugby. Let's go. Build now. Finding more spots to get everybody paid. It's always nice to start off with a couple of winners in the rugby back pocket out there. And Sub Club's been beating it up. He's got action in the Baron Leverkusen game. Then he's got little Bodo action out there as well for the Thursday Europa challenges. Robert McCormick's here. Smoke in the house. Shout out to Keith. Each and every stride, you can check our guy Keith out here. He hangs out with us on live streams. He's got his channel over there as well. Each every stripe. Got a little Northwestern State over 131.5. Rick J just needs Montana on the money line in a parlay. Okay. There's a big one. Jerry Davis. Here we go. A little round. I like the round robins this time of year. It's fun stuff, Jerry. FAMU points. Alcorn money. Bethune. Laying the spread. Laying the lumber. Mr. Tomatoes thinks that Northwestern's live dog tonight. And Trisha M's here. Even all revenge spot for the Ice Cats tonight. Let's get shots and goals tonight for the 5.5 and the Cats money line for Trisha M. Okay. We have revised the shit list. It was only right that we take them boys off. You know, the Kansas City Chiefs. Frankly, I just got tired of looking at them. You know, I mean, we know what they are. We know what they did for us here to get that big Eagles Super Bowl, but we're always scrubbing for new shit list candidates. Shout out to Peter Gracias here. Says, sup, Mikey? Happy Monday. Happy Monday, my friend. We got big stuff ahead, and our guy Joe Dub blessing the action as we get ready to launch this ship. Let's go, my guy. Shout out to Joe W. gifting that sports money membership. Starting our month off on the right foot, Joe. Appreciate you, my dude. Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers. I got to keep one eye on the window. I got to keep one eye on the splits. And I got to keep one eye on the script. So I don't know where that third eye is going to come from, but I'm waiting for this part. Today is a big day to get this part that I need. So bear with me as I kind of seem semi-distracted here, but we'll get through it. We always do. We always find a way. We'll be all right. Let's go. Let's pop off in the NHL. I did put a VIP play out there for the 6:30 start. So we'll go on and see what that looks like with the Senators and Capitals. I really like this. What's Sub say? I rather fancy this NHL card tonight. Boy, I could have opened up. I thought that with all the kind of moving parts between all the sports that are going on right now, hockey was probably the most consistent approach. I don't even know if consistent is the right word. I just like this hockey card. I like it a lot. We're going to start with the Sabres and the Canadiens. We're going to take a look at the goaltenders here. We know we've got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen starting on the Sabres side of things here. We'll go back in net again. Unconfirmed, but first guy off the ice with a 3.04 goals against average and an 89.3% save percentage. And La Habitants are going to go back out there trying to get their 5th straight win. Okay. Texting, buzzing, beeping, blasting. No steam reports for me. We get that in the morning with Ramon Scott. But the Canadians, looking for number 5. They're going back to Sammy Montembeault, who's trying to bounce back. 23 of 26 saves his last start. The bounce back effect is real here because it's the San Jose Sharks. They went into overtime. They picked up that W, but it was anything but pretty. That was the game we were on the Sharks. And we took the L. Got greedy. It was like plus 250 or plus 260. I remember that specifically saying, this is the one, this is the one where let's get greedy. And if they're, the Sharks do play a lot of one puck line games. That was a puck line game. So, turn down plus 115 to try to get a plus 250. But Canadians, Montembeault, 3 or fewer goals in 8 of his last 10 starts. 90.5% save percentage. The Sabres coming into this thing losing. Beeping, buzzing, banging, bopping. Uh-oh. Be right back. Be right back. All right. And there's a show first. Told you guys I was waiting for that package. Stop the assembly line here. Needed this package. And it arrived. I guess it arrived early. They said it'd be here by 7. I mean, yeah. They certainly took every minute of this window, but it's here. That's what's most important. And I'm going to pop off. I'm going to start off with the Montreal Canadiens in this game. I don't see enough bounce back firepower for this Buffalo Sabres team. To me, this is a team that's just been dominated by the Montreal Canadiens. 7 straight puck lines for the Canadiens to beat up on these Sabres. One team's got the other team's number. If it wasn't aside from that, if you watch some of the beat reporters and some of the news that's come across the pike, guess what they're doing? They're getting ready. They're calling this playoffs now. Strategically, it seems like a long time to be talking about your boys, but like, it's not playoff time 4 weeks before the playoffs start, but I get the sentiment. Like, hey, we got to start playing hard now. We got to earn our position in there in the, the wild card position for the NHL. And is Buffalo that team on the other side to do it? I mean, Buffalo certainly has their own opportunities. We saw Buffalo take advantage of some of the weaker opponents. They did bust up the Rangers coming out of the All-Star break. Then they hammered the Anaheim Ducks. They went on the road. They got thumped by Carolina, and they lost again the other day to the Montreal Canadiens 4-2. So, yeah, is it the immediacy and the bounce-back opportunity for the Sabres? It is, but man, look at this Canadiens team. 5-2 on the road against Ottawa, small road trip. Then they blanked Carolina. Carolina's got some of its own challenges right now. They had that 4-3 game we just talked about and the 4-2 game against the Sabres. Not enough firepower for Buffalo in my estimation here, given the streak, the success factors, the bounce back opportunities, and all those things rolled into one. Fair price tag, a very fair price tag on this Montreal Canadiens squad. The best number I was able to lock down. Let me see what the best numbers are that we have right now. Let's pull this open. Let's go. Feels warmer already. Just knowing this part is here. You can catch yourself some minus 114s, little 114 action in the NHL. The number I locked in was minus 110. So it's moved a little bit, So we're seeing some of that late. This is important in the NHL. I was talking with our guy Gonzo about this earlier today. The NHL, the sharp action comes in late. You got to pay attention to it. The 8,700 tickets being involved in these games. And if it's enough to tinker and move this thing just a little bit, those are the indicators. That's the leading indicator we need to know where the big money's coming in on, and they feel good about this fair price tag, just over a pick 'em for the Montreal Canadiens. What do you guys think about that? What say you? I see some combos going on here. Subhumans here rocking. Got to spend some time with Sub. Recording the Sub Club today. Make sure you guys do check those 2 videos out. Nasty Nate, it was a glitch in the stream there. Fanatical Jim had to restart. Mine froze. I think Sub said he had to restart as well. It was acting funky all day. But we're back. What's funny is it didn't even save in my library for the live streams. Didn't save there either. So I don't know what happened, but anyhow, maybe I was partly blacked out. Maybe that's part of the reason too. Rick J giving some feedback. Fernando Mendoza, is that the sweater you're giving away? No, this is a Buffalo Bills sweater. You don't want one of these. Jim's in the house. He likes the Habitants. Cheap price. I agree. I totally concur. Let's go. Let's get back to work. Let's go on to game number 2. Guys, make sure you do smash that thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Look, we had a pretty solid week last week. We had a nice little 7-day stretch going. And then, dropped a couple back at the end. But you don't win every day in this thing. It's a sprint and a marathon, to quote a former boss that I just couldn't stand. Sprint and marathon. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Who sprints and marathon? Well, you gotta be ready to go. Trish Adams Ice Cats in a bounce back revenge spot against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And if I was going to put a word on this, I would say goaltender, 2 words, goaltender battle. And for that, I can't go with anything but the under in this game. Kind of want to lean towards the Florida Panthers. I do like that little bounce back spot, but the challenge that I'm having right now is we're past the star player out of the lineup situation, and now it's just kind of free fall until they go out there and make a big move to spend that $9 million of increased salary cap they have due to the LTIR. Vasilevsky will start for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he's been playing fantastic, lights out. Now, we know he kind of started the season slow. In fact, the whole Tampa Bay season kind of started slow. Some canceled games due to the hurricane. They had some makeup spots to get in there. They had Vasilevsky hurt as well. So probably the fresher goaltender. Probably going to have to lean to Vasilevsky. 28, 15, and 3. Kind of the advantage with these numbers because the team got to figure out who they were, their new identity without Stamkos. And once they figured that piece of it out, started scoring, got their new, kind of got to get the new people in the right seats on the bus, so to speak. And they did that. He comes back in. He's got a 2.16 goals against average and a 92.3% save percentage. And look, solid 20 saves, 21 shots against none other than them red-hot Washington Capitals. 3-1 win. What's more impressive, he's got the 2.16 goals against average, but his GAA is now 1.72 in his recent performances. So this guy has been playing great and trending even better. As we get closer to playoffs, you can expect that from seasoned NHL professionals, all-stars. Bobrovsky on the other side of things, Panthers have won 3 straight. They're firing on all cylinders right now. Bobrovsky, 23 saves, 3rd shutout of the season. Uh-oh. It was against the Calgary Flames. And look, here's a guy with a 2.73 goals against average and a 90.4% save percentage. How's he been performing lately? 1.69 goals against average in his last 9 games. Tampa Bay, clearly smoking everybody right now. 8-game winning streak. Makes it tough for me to get to the side. But I'll take this total. I'll rock this under 5.5. Recent performances between these two teams will show you that, especially the Florida Panthers, when they're playing a winning team, there tend to be goals. But are they going to be able to answer the call? The call of no Matthew Tkachuk, and they still haven't plugged that $9 million salary hole yet. So for those reasons, the aforementioned reasons, I'm going to follow a play that came in on the Steam report. No, I shouldn't say that. It's the Sharp report. Sometimes I get the two confused. Ramon's got the Steam. I'll come in with the Sharp report. You can kind of say that they're one and the same. They coexist. They coexist here at Sports Money. But I got the under 6 at minus 122. Still available. Still widely available, in fact. And if you could only get a 5.5, I don't know. I like the 6. I like the 6. I'm involved in the 6. I'm invested in the 6. I like the 6 because if it's 4-2 Tampa, I got the push. I got to pay up for it a little bit. 5.5 right now. Let me see. Let me take a peek. Let's take a peek at what's going on with these totals. So Bet Rivers still hanging on to a 6. A couple of regional books, I guess. And then 5.5 said even money. 5.5 said even money up and down the board. Pinnacle's sitting there with a 5.5 at a plus 103. I got the 6. Get the 6. Buy up the 6. If you can't get a 6, maybe wait for a quick goal. If you wait for that quick goal, you might be able to get yourself even to a 6.5 and capitalize on that thing. So got to shop around. Got to do the due diligence to find those spots. 6 is the number I want. 6 is the number I'm taking. I feel almost criminal with this next game. Almost. Look, I think the Blackhawks are a live dog. I do. It's not how I'm choosing to attack this game. Darcy Kemper coming in goal. 2.33 goals against average, 91.3% save percentage. However, unlike the previous 2 games that we profiled, Kemper has been struggling. 6 goals on 32 shots, 6-2 loss to the Dallas Stars. Not trending in the positive direction. In fact, just 4-3-1 over his last 8 games. So he's got a 2.33 goals against average. His last 8 games, he's trending to a 3.14 goals against average. That's a sell. Sell. You're here. Assess the gap. And the Kings have been outscored 13-5. We talked about the Kings starting to come into some scoring woes because they weren't shooting. And we're starting to see that come to fruition now. That being said, the Blackhawks did just beat that suspect Anaheim Ducks team 6-3. That snapped a 5-game skitter. They were in the shitter. On the other side of things, this guy's waking up in Chicago, probably scratching his head going, what the hell happened? Spencer Knight is acquired from the Florida Panthers on Saturday. He will make his debut tonight in his new lease on life with the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me another tally. New player coming in, feeling good. Boys get a little fresh energy and motivation in the locker room. Maybe it's another tick for the Chicago Blackhawks. Overall, this guy's been 2.4 goals against average and a 90.7% save percentage. So he was the backup down there in Florida. He went 12-8-1. 2.4, 90.7. Winning goaltender with 2 shutouts. Certainly can't hurt the Blackhawks to add that firepower. And he's allowed 3 or fewer goals in 9 straight starts. Another reason I think Chicago is live tonight. I don't like the outscoring factor here for the Kings because of the play that I'm taking, but I haven't been on it in a minute, and I think it's time to get back to it, especially this time of the year. 2 things happen. One, there's a lot of young guys playing for the Blackhawks. A lot of first-timers, and this is the point of the schedule now where whether they were QMJHL players, OHL players, college players, this is that point of the season now where, games 60 through 80 are more games than they've played probably throughout any game or any season or any team that they've been on in their entire careers. That leads to tired defense in my estimation. We know that Kemper can get lit up. Question is what happens with the debut. I could see a shaky start for this Chicagoan in coming out here with Spencer Knight. I went to the first period over. I say it so defeatedly. This thing was up to minus 170s and minus 180s. Everybody was firing on it. And it's come back down. And we're now seeing this thing at a reasonable number. And I want to hammer on it. I just think this is one of those spots where we can take these teams. I do like Chicago. I said this a bunch of times already. I do like Chicago a lot. But look, this first period over, you can catch it at minus 118. We haven't seen prices like that since the start of the season. So it's just time. It's time and opportunity. And I think this opportunity affords us, we've seen with the Kings, a lot of 5.5s end up at 6s, right? We've seen that they're just kind of finding a way to tick over the finish line. And they should put boots to ass on a weaker team, but I'm good. I'm going to take a shot with this one here. This to me is just a price tag play, fading away on this Kings team that's not scoring. I kind of like the both teams to score in the first period, but I am a little concerned that if you're the LA Kings, how do you get motivated for this game? You're playing a shit team in Chicago Blackhawks. Overall, you got back-to-backers at home against St. Louis, and you're trying to exact revenge from St. Louis. They just played St. Louis 2 nights ago. They lost 4-1. And they're barely getting to that 2 mark. Anaheim, they lost 2-1. They beat Utah 5-3. They beat Vegas 5-2. Then they play at home against Vancouver. They lose 3-2. They lose 6-2 at Dallas, 4-1 at St. Louis. They're definitely not a team that's trending in the right direction. But they do have back-to-back bounce-back spots at home against St. Louis. So it is the last game of the road trip. I'll say it again. I think Chicago's live. I like this first period over. I'll take this price tag. I think it's a good value that we're getting here at minus 118s, minus 120s. So be it. That being the case that I want to attack, Rick J says Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight. Spenny Knight. Add it to all the trade talk. Yep. Red Beard giving us a little action here. That looks like some pony action, and if I've ever seen it, let's go. Get it all here. Get all sorts, shapes and sizes. It doesn't matter what color the ball is. It just matters that it goes in on the winning side for us. Let's go. Short little college basketball slate. Duke and Wake Forest. I heavily lean to the over. Super duper, ultra, ooper heavily. I don't even know what I just said. But I know this. There's a lot of intersecting 0 opportunities for this game to go over. The challenge that I have, if Wake Forest goes down, and this 20.5 suggests they do go down, their big game isn't until Saturday. And that will potentially be an opportunity for them to secure an outright position in the March Madness brackets, regardless of what they do in this tournament. And the Cooper Flag firing, but I see a lot of sharp bettors that I respect taking his under points tonight. They might shut him down. So I just had a hard time getting to this game at all. I mean, I like Wake. I like the teams that they've gone on the road to beat and dominate. But look, I'm going to start my card off with Prairie View and Jackson State. Those guys, yeah. Best in the division, worst in the division. Prairie View, we talked about these guys in conference. And where's their struggle? Well, it's everywhere. Predominantly, they couldn't stop anything their last couple of games. This line's gone from 13.5 to 14.5. You got 55% of the bets and 57% of the cash on the Prairie View side of things. The road dog, and it's gone up a point. Getting more attractive to bet Prairie View. Small sample size, 2,300 tickets. And we got this total that's come down from 148.5 to 147.5 to 146.5. We got 70% of the bets and 74% of the cash on this under. And that's the play that I got to take advantage of here. You know, I told you I'm a little, I don't want to say skeptic. I'm just cautious with this first couple days here. Once we're officially in conference tournament land, we'll be good to go here. But look, 8-12 Prairie View to the under when they're on the road. Jackson State 5-4 when they're at home. I mean, it's not a tremendous advantage on one side or the other. Where the advantage lies is Jackson State should absolutely put belt to ass. 7-2 Jackson State is at home against the spread. And you got a 9-11 Prairie View team. The problem with that is Prairie View is so bad that sometimes they just get too many points. And that's how you define or defend a 9-11 calendar. But it's their apathetic offense that prevents them from getting to 50 points consistently that's led to this number of unders in a row. They got 5 straight unders rocking out there. And we got back-to-back unders for this Jackson State team who's belting up. They're tightening up as they get ready for their conference play. Back-to-back home games against Alcorn and Texas Southern. And both those games handled them under. They kept Alcorn to 63. They kept Texas Southern to 52. So we're moving in the right direction. And this one came by way of the fine folks at the Sharp Betting Emporium that gave us this one. Now, here's the thing. Jackson State are 7-0 when they're double-digit favorites and a total over 130.5 to the over. They are 7-0. But I think the Sharps are looking the same way I am. Prairie View's awful. They lost 15 straight road games after a loss. It's like quicksand for this Prairie View team. They can't get out of their own way. And there is really no motivation or incentive for Jackson State to go out there and rip up a 100-piece. So I got to buck this trend with Jackson State and their 7 straight overs. I got to go to the fact that Prairie View hasn't gone over on the road since, I think, 2025. Give me the under. Pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward college basketball spot there to take the under. The number that I got is... Where'd you go? Where did you go? Follow my action at BetSnap, Mikey Money. 146.5. Plenty of those 146.5s widely available for this 9 p.m. start. I think I went out of sequence a little bit here because the next game we're going to talk about, I guess this one's 9 p.m. as well. Kansas and Houston. 11.5 has come down to 9.5. And you got some sharp bettors banging away on this Kansas side of things. This line went from 11.5 down to 9.5. 42% of the bets, but 62% of the cash creates a 20-point differential in bigger bettors coming in on Kansas. 83% of the bets and 84% of the cash are on the over. It's come down a half a point, depending on your book, a full point. And I think that's the right move. First of all, we know Houston's at home. You guys know I have an affinity for Houston at home and their prowess on defense. And sometimes I like to get these team total unders on the first half of the opponent. I'm not going to do that with Kansas. Houston's kicking everybody's ass. Expected. They're just 9-10, though, against the spread at home. Kansas on the road, 5-7 against the spread. I couldn't see a decided scenario one way or the other. I'll tell you this, though. You guys know how much I like these Houston unders when they're at home. 3 of the last 5 games have gone under for Houston. We're just 1-1 in the last 2 for Kansas, but it's road Kansas that seems to find under. 74-67, they lost as big favorites to Utah. They got under the 146. They played at Colorado, at elevation, 6.5 point favorite. There they are again, 6.5. They win the game 71-64. It still stays on. When they get home, that it seems to have that propensity to go over. But what we really have, first of all, Houston at home is just so absolutely fucking dominant. 56 straight night game wins at home. 56. Now that's, hefty money lines, right? Those are pricey money lines, but it's that home court dominance. It's tough to play. That's why we see that defense reign through. And on top of that, when Kansas goes to the road, we just talked about Kansas being on the road. When Kansas goes to the road after a home game and they had less than 11 turnovers, they're a perfect 10-0 to the under. Controlling the ball, not doing anything stupid or sloppy, taking it to the road, just trying to get the hell out of Dodge with as close to a W as they can get, and they're 10-0 to the under. It's good money for me. I'm going to take it. I got 130. What'd I get? Should have these written out. My apologies. 132.5. Still widely available as well. Just going to get full game. I'm going to watch that game. I'm going to play the whole thing. I'm going to enjoy myself while I watch number 3 Houston go out there and just try to put stick to back of Baby Seal's head. Yep. We'll take some Houston under 132.5. Shout out to Skunk Blaster, author of the Scumbag Play of the Day. He's coming in with some Alcorn State. Can you look at the money splits? Sure. Oh, well, if you can't find it, let me see if I can find it. Let me see what I can do for my man, Skunk Blaster. And then we'll jump into some NBA. I got this player prop parlay for you guys that's paying out at 5-1. Well, of course, there's no splits. I see what you're saying. Let me go to the alternate site. Gotta have some split data. Sometimes we just gotta dig deep. 51-49. 51-49 in favor of Alcorn State. I haven't really seen much movement. Maybe a half a point, Scott Blaster. Half a point from where it opened up at 1.5 down to 1s. So it's essentially a pick 'em and it's a coin flip. Alcorn State 7-1 against the spread at home. As a favorite, they're 4-1 on the money line at home. It's the dog spot that both these teams struggle. Texas Southern's 2-13 on the money line as a dog. Against the spread on the road, they're 5-11. On the dog spot, they're 4-11 as well. So I like that. I can get down with some Alcorn State money line. I mean, I didn't spend too much time looking at the players and what's going on, but it says, yeah, they play with me hiding the money. They're probably getting some exposure on that game that makes them a little bit uncomfortable, would be my guess. But there you go. There you go, my friend. Ask and you shall receive. There it is. It's gonna be some reading. Some reading. Good old Zach LaVine over 4.5 rebounds. Malik Beasley over 19.5 points has gotten steamed from 16.5 to 19.5. And Mark Williams over 10.5 rebounds at plus 503. Leave it on the screen. What do we look for with these player props? We look for players averaging the minutes, players averaging the line, and opportunities to step up when there's injured players around them. We get that with Zach. First and foremost, Dallas' front court is decimated with injury. Not only do we have the favorable opportunity on the opposite side of this thing here, but we furthermore have a Sabonis backer that's out there. So someone has to step up and ring the bell, and it's got to be Zach LaVine. The Mavericks won't have Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Anthony Davis, Caleb Martin, PJ Washington. And they're going to match up LaVine against Kyrie Irving and Max Christie. He's averaging 4 rebounds a game. So we're looking at 4.5. But he's getting the minutes, 36.1 minutes. And the Mavericks average 53.5 rebounds a game. That's 7th most in the NBA. And they're on a downward sell here. They're averaging 62, almost 10 more rebounds a game over their last 3 games. That's what I mean by attacking that front court. You can pick this dude up and you could ladder him, and I'd feel pretty darn good about that too. But, how high are you going to go? He's gotten 7 rebounds a game over his last 2 games. And that without Sabonis probably isn't going to change. So feel comfortable with the Zach LaVine. I got the over 4.5. Excuse me. I went to Malik Beasley. We're going to talk about this game here in a minute. And spoiler alert, I do like me some Detroit Pistons. It's a triple revenge spot. The Pistons have won 9 of their last 10. And of their total wins, half of them have come on the road. So we'll talk more about why. I mean, look, the Utah Jazz, we know that they stink at home, right? They're big favorites. It's continuing to swell in that direction. And Beasley's gotten 16 or more points in 3 straight, 5 of his last 6. It was 16.5 earlier today. I think there's going to be some rotation change here. Beasley's been a guy that comes off the bench, but he still gets the minutes. He's still averaging over 27 minutes a game. So the thing I like most about this dude, he'll chuck the 3 from fucking the parking lot. He doesn't care. 8 or more 3-pointers in his last 5 straight games that he's attempted. So we're getting him at 19.5. Yeah, I mean, it's moved a little bit from 16.5, but situational. Whether he comes off the bench or not, his line for threes is 4.5. So he's, they're expecting to pick up a 5-pack. If he gets a 5-pack, that's 15 points. And his inside the arc points his last 3 matches have been on the uptick. So I think it's a great opportunity for a Utah Jazz team that allows 120 points a game. They won't, there's going to be a Tobias Harris issue, which means that with an offense that's down, we got a guy to step up from that situational opportunity we look like in Beasley for the Pistons, who are, 4th place in the East, firing. Incentive to play, incentive to put that belt back to the ass, as we talked about previously. Beasley will be the 2nd player in the prop game. And then the 3rd one's our guy, Mark Williams, somebody that kind of got fucked on that trade with the physical for the Lakers. And since then, probably disappointed he's got to play in Charlotte, but he's been firing. 12 or more rebounds in his last 3 games. The rebound line's been on the move since he's been stepping up after that failed Lakers trade. He's gone from 9.5 rebounds to 10.5 rebounds to 11.5 rebounds. Nurkic, injury report, could be more minutes for Williams. He's averaging 30 over his last 3 games. And the Golden State Warriors, well, we know what they do. They shoot the ball from the parking lot. So, they allow 54.3 rebounds a game over their last 3. They won't have Kuminga tonight as well. So we're checking all the boxes with our players taking advantage with injuries, getting the minutes, and averaging the numbers. I like this parlay a lot. I like it a lot. Plus 503. You can have some fun too if you're interested in the Zach LaVine market. Consider him over 6.5. Maybe play a couple steps along the way. Probably the same thing with Mark Williams. 12.5s to 13s, and get a couple of extra dollars there on the back end, but that's good enough for me. Nicholas Handy says it's a good stance. Capitals 1-0. Bo Jackson thinks the Capitals are going to eat. Mikey turns, he says, you think LA isn't going to be? Well, look, yeah, I mean, I'd be fired up to go out there and play the last game of the road trip too, but it doesn't mean I can. So no, I mean, yeah, they should be fired up and ready to go for sure, Turnsy. I don't dismiss that, but they're not scoring. And it's contagious, man. It's like a sickness running around the locker room. So I like the first period over. I took the first period over there. There's a guy. Watts. There's Dan. There's Dan. Got the next episode for the rugby plays coming out tomorrow from our guy Dan and Watts. Make sure you follow Watts, WODS. You can follow them boys on YouTube. They are our international partner producing Rugby Gold. They're giving you guys their best bets for the week in rugby. Great start with Dan and the boys there. And Fifey, good job, you guys, man. It was a lot of fun. I always like to make that money. Okay, let's go. You know my belief. Some teams match up better against others in certain spots, specifically conference and divisional opportunities. Trailblazers have moved from 3.5. Now they're a favorite. They're a 1-point favorite, even a 2-point favorite in some books. 74% of the bets, 66% of the cash. This is injury-related news, in my estimation. Total's gone from 222 to 229 with 84% of the bets and 89% of the cash on the over. And what do we know? Well, we know the Sixers stink. We know that they shut down Embiid. Furthermore, we know Oubre is going to be out of the lineup tonight. That's a big miss. And what is the reason? Illness. And just go down the line. Paul George, out. Groin. Kyle Lowry, hit. I think Kyle Lowry might play. But this team's just a mess, man. Quentin Grimes is downgraded to doubtful. Coach's decision, some shit going on there in the locker room. On the other side of things for the Trailblazers, Jamari Grant out with the knee tonight. Will that be a big deal? I guess we'll find out. We'll FAFO with this game here. Look, how do you want to approach this one? Sixers are 10-20 against the spread at home. Trailblazers 17-13 on the road against the spread. I just mentioned all those injuries. To me, we don't need to belabor this. We can keep this thing moving because I got a part to install here. We can look at this thing. We're past the initial mention of the star player. I don't even know how relevant that star player theory is for this Sixers game because Embiid's been pretty much banged up and out of the lineup like all season. But Portland against the East, run them. They're 15-3 overall, 11-0 run, Portland Trailblazers against the Eastern Conference. Teams are built to match up against their opponents. And when you start to find those opportunities where they mismatch outside, maybe it creates a trend. We've been riding it. We're going to stay on it. But here's the best. Not only are we going to take the Portland Blazers, we found a fade on the Sixers. Now, this is book dependent. This was from earlier today when they were a favorite. I was able to lock down some plus money points here. But when they're a favorite of less than minus 230, if you fade them, boys, you're 30-10. We talked about the Sixers in the favorite role are garbage. They're garbage. We faded them the last time in the favorite role. And let's see what number we can find. Let's see how relevant that trend is for what we're doing here tonight. Depends on the book. Depends on the book. I mean, it's looking like a pick'em in a lot of places now. DraftKings, you can catch minus 1.5 at minus 108 on the Blazers. Profit X, wherever that book is, has a minus 1 at minus 104. Novig, wherever that book is. I have a feeling that one makes sense. Novig is probably one of those peer-to-peer connector sites, consumer to consumer. Plus 117 for these Trailblazers here, but it has predominantly moved now to a favorite in the Trailblazers. It makes sense, and it's injury related. So I know some of those trends don't make sense if they're not the favorite any longer, but we can explain why they've moved from favorite to dog, and nobody wants to play for them Sixers anymore. They're all tired. Nobody wants to be on that team. They'll come back. And there's a little validation point from our guy, Bo Jackson. It says the Sixers have an 0-2 record against the Northwest Division. Wow. Let's go. I would be blown away to see the Sixers find a way to put up another W out there. I mean, they surprised me the other day. I'll say that. I wasn't expecting to watch them go out there and hammer Golden State 126-119. But what happened minutes before that game? Well, not minutes, but between the last game they played against the Knicks where they got thumped 110-105 and that Golden State game, they shut down Embiid. So the first game, the star player's officially out. Somebody steps up. They did that against Golden State Warriors. And now we got the Blazers who just dominate. And not to mention that, but look, the Blazers beat down the Brooklyn Nets 121-102. This is going to be their fifth straight road game. They were 4-0 running into this game. They ran into the Cleveland Buzzsaw 133-129. They lost at Cleveland, but they were 11-point dogs, and they still covered. So there's some fight in this Trailblazers team. I think it's enough fight to beat up on this Sixers limping in, trying to figure out a way. And I said there's no way. Feel bad for them boys. Feel bad. If it wasn't for all that money they were making, I'd feel bad for them. I think I saw John Morant news with the, let me see. I thought I saw it. I thought I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I had an eye outside, an eye inside, an eye over here, an eye over there. Grizzlies are 0-6-1 in their last 7 games overall and struggling. I thought I saw John News. I guess I didn't. Paul George out tonight. Again, another lump against them, boys. You got to hammer on this. Got to hammer on this Portland team. John Morant, unlikely to play Monday. That's what I saw. That was 30 minutes ago. So if you're looking at that Memphis Grizzlies Atlanta Hawks game, this total went from 250 up to 255.5. I slapped an under at 255.5. I was like, this isn't an all-star game. Then the John Morant news comes out, and it comes down 5 points. So do with that what you will. The Rockets and the Thunder. I like this under in the Dallas Mavericks Sacramento Kings game. That was the first cut for me. It went from 236.5. I got 232.5. But this number's dropped now another point to 231.5. So, I mean, when we start moving 5-6 points, we're remiss to give that out. But we'll close the night up. We'll close up shop with the Pistons and the Utah Jazz in a triple revenge spot. You lost at home as a favorite. You go on the road as a favorite. We're looking for them boys to bounce back. They went from -9 to -11. And only 41% of the bets and 45% of the cash on the Pistons. I say only, but I mean, it's moved 2 points. So, put that in perspective. This total has gone up 2 points from 229.5 to 231.5. You have 86% of the bets and 88% of the cash on the over, and it correlates. I don't know. You already heard my Malik Beasley thoughts there. Getting the minutes, getting the opportunities. I do like, if I was going to look for some rebounds, I would consider some Walker Kessler. This might even have a fun little same game parlay to wrap up the shop here. It's a 9 p.m. start. If I can get my homework done before then, we might have to attack this thing. But look, the Pistons, 19-10 on the road against the spread. The Jazz have gone to 16-14, so they've kind of picked some things up here just a little bit. But they are 1-3 in their last 4. And by the way, they've had 5 straight home games. So this will be number 6 for them boys. They beat Houston 124-115. They then proceeded to lose their next 2 to Portland and Sacramento. They beat Minnesota. Minnesota stinks. That was a weird schedule spot because they had just played, I believe it was the Lakers, and beat them. And then the Pelicans. And they lost to the Pelicans just yesterday. So the second leg of a back-to-back means a tired team in the Jazz who have seen an incredibly long road trip. And this is where the road trip starts for the Pistons. First game, look, complete opposites. 4-1 are the Pistons in their last 5 games. They had a road game against Atlanta. That was a battle for a 148-143. It was an all-star game. Then they beat the Clippers 106-97. They beat Boston 117-97. They lose to Denver 134-119. And they come back and they beat up Brooklyn Nets 115-94. If ever it's going to happen for the Pistons to exact revenge, it's going to be against the Jazz team that's got no Jordan Clarkson, no Lauri Markkanen. John Collins is doubtful. Colin Sexton is questionable. And you're pretty much running full squad with these Detroit Pistons. What am I missing? They're 10-0 in the favorite role when their previous game had an assist-to-turnover ratio of less than 3. And that triple revenge. Road favorites versus non-conference and revenge are 126-52. And these shitbags lost twice already. So they've already of that 126-52, they account for one of those losses. Law of averages. I mean, they got to take some Pistons here. It's moved to 11. I'm still okay with that. Still okay. I just don't believe in this Utah. And who's going to score? Keep your phones on. The Utah Jazz might be calling you, asking if you can. Are you comfortable? Can you hit the backboard from beyond the arc? That's all they want you to do. That's all they need. I do like Walker Kessler. This dude averages 12.2 rebounds a game, and someone's got to play. Someone's got to play. On the flip side, though, again, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren. This Piston squad should be, and then of course Malik Beasley coming in there to fire on these boys. That's how we're going to wrap the shop up tonight, you guys. That's going to be it. That's our card. That's a nice little card. Let's see if we can get to the window, cash in some tickets tonight, and we got a big week ahead. So tonight's our get started. We start ramping up. Tomorrow you'll be able to find the VB MMA Pick Show. You got 2 soccer plays from the sub club out there tonight. Make sure you catch those because tomorrow Dan's going to release some Australian rugby action for us. That'll take place later this week. Lots of stuff going on, you guys. Good luck to everybody. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button on the way out the door. Respect. Thank you to Joe W. gifting a sports money membership and helping us grow our community. Shout out to Skunk Blaster giving us the $4.99 dono as well, you guys. Appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for all being here tonight. And due respect and want the outro. I'll give it to you. It crushes us. Everybody logs out. But I'll give it to you guys. Thank you guys. Good luck tonight. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. We don't stop. Rain, sleet, or snow. Pregaming is good to go.
Snow, Curtis Blow,